and Happy New Year to you and, of course, all your lovely viewers. And let's hope, yes, things are not as bad in 2022 as they were in 2021. It would be very difficult for them to be, at least in terms of the extraordinary tangle of rules that right now applies to travel, and, of course, that have changed so many times over the past 12 months.
Simon, it's been a really, really difficult time. What are we looking at in terms of 2022? Is it safe for us to even consider a holiday anytime soon?
Well, it all depends how you define safe. And, of course, there is uncertainty attached to absolutely everything at the moment. There will be people watching now who've woken up not in a beautiful French alpine hotel where they're on a great skiing trip, because those were all cancelled almost 2 weeks ago now by the French, who wanted to restrict the spread of Omicron. Now, as you've been reporting, Omicron seems rather to have sort of taken over in Europe at least, and therefore it is futile to have this ban. The Germans have already worked this out, and their ban ends 11 p.m. British time on Monday. The French ban continues, but I think it's of no use at all to the many, many families who wanted to be on holiday in France over Christmas and New Year. But the ban, I think, will end in the next week or two. It is ludicrous to keep it in place. Now, I think we will be looking at occasional increases in rules. For instance, Cyprus tightens up for British travellers. You need a PCR test from Tuesday. And we'll see a bit of that in various parts of the world. But overall, I think once we accept that Omicron is here and we're going to have to live with it, and thank goodness, as you've reported, for the vast majority of fully vaccinated people, it is not a particularly severe problem, I think things will ease up. The date that I'm looking at is in 4 days' time, so on Wednesday. That is when the government is going to review its current very onerous testing rules. The UK imposes far tighter restrictions on people coming in than pretty much any other country in Europe. So you've got to have a test before you fly into the UK, or of course get a ferry or a train here. And then you've got to self-isolate until you get a negative result from a PCR post-arrival test. Very expensive, very irksome, and a lot of people are just saying, I can't do it, I can't afford it, or I can't accept all the hassle and quarantine that I've got to go into. You know, here we are nearly 2 years into the pandemic, and there must be a better way.
You were mentioning, Simon, that we need to find a way to live with Omicron. That's Omicron at the moment. Who knows if another variant's coming down the path. Really, we've got to live with these different variants that appear.
Yes, and that's such a crucial point, and thank you for it. This is what is really distressing the travel industry. If you go back, 5 weeks now, suddenly we were there was an announcement from Downing Street, right, we are going to bring in these post-arrival tests because we're really worried about this new variant. And they were very quick to be brought in. They've been extremely slow to be relaxed. And that's been the pattern all the way through. And it's almost as though there's reports of a variant. Yes, of course, the medical people, that's their job, get very concerned about it and are understandably saying, well, we don't know, and it could be this and this and this, and the government thinks, right, okay, we've got to close everything down now. But it's absolutely no way to run a travel industry. People who are booking travel need confidence that they're going to be able to do it. So there will be loads of people thinking today, start of a new year, I'd love something to look forward to. What better than a summer holiday? But a lot of those people are going to be saying, well, I've seen what's happened over the past year. I'm not going to make any commitments at this stage, which is very sad for them and very sad for the travel industry. And yes, there needs to be an acceptance that variants will appear, and that every time a new variant pops up, that we don't close the travel industry down, because unlike some other industries, you don't just turn it on and off like a tap. People do not behave like that.
Yeah, and Simon, another factor for people is, of course, the price of going away. And, if you just take America, for example, the price of flights has shot up considerably in the past few weeks. When is the sense of when this is going to start to level out again?
Well, that's such a good question, because the airlines, of course, the holiday companies have lost billions of pounds, and they'd quite like to make some of that back. And certainly the people who've lent them money would like their money back with interest, understandably. And so the way that travel is going to develop, and we're already seeing this actually in January, where particularly EasyJet and Ryanair have cancelled loads of flights because they simply are not getting the bookings that would allow them to fly. The planes which do take off, there will be fewer of them, and the airlines will want to charge more. So I was lucky enough just at the end of November, start of December, to get to Florida. Of course, America only opened up, less than 8 weeks ago. And that was great, except that normally in that time of year, I pay maybe £350 and I paid £500. And I think adding up to 50% of what you paid last time in 2019 is going to be a fairly good rule of thumb. Yes, there will still be bargains out there from time to time, but conversely, there will be some shockingly high fares. And anybody who is considering a holiday, my advice is book a proper package holiday through a real human travel agent, because that way, well, first of all, the travel agent can keep you in touch with all the changing rules. And secondly, if you booked a package holiday, then you have absolute gold-plated consumer protection, and of course get some decent insurance just in case you happen to test positive while abroad, and you've got to deal with all that. So it's an expensive business. Travel for most of 2021, I'm sorry to say, was basically for the bold and the desperate. Many people, of course, wanting to reunite with loved ones. But I am optimistic, and I'm particularly optimistic about places like Australia finally opening up. And I think that could be happening sooner rather than later.